We're live. We are live, everybody, and I could not be more excited to be with someone I adore, Vanessa Brantley-Newton. Hello, Vanessa.
Hello, Lilla.
You look so incredible. I love it.
Oh, thank you,
Love
ma'am.
the yellow lip. I
Let me keep.
oh, your nails. I upped my lipstick after. So Vanessa and I spoke before this briefly, and like, oh, I better go amp up my lipstick. I'm really glad all of you are here. We have so much good stuff. First, I'm going to introduce Vanessa in a minute, but I'm going to tell you that she is the author of 87 books and is a diversity expert. Well, I might as well introduce you right now. Vanessa Brantley-Newton is a self-taught illustrator, doll maker, and crafter, and author and/or illustrator of 87. Yeah, you heard me right. 87 children's books. So she knows so much, and we're going to have time for your questions. Hello to Misha and Anna and Jitna and Jenny. Vanessa celebrates self love and acceptance of all cultures through her work and hopes to inspire young readers as Ezra Jacks Keats inspired her and an entire generation of children. She is a diversity expert, and she's going to give us wonderful advice and inspiration. Diversity is at the heart of Vanessa's beautiful, gorgeous, fabulous artwork, collages, and illustrations. She believes that all children should see themselves reflected in picture books that they read. I always say this: why? It's the kind thing to do, it's the right thing to do, it's the caring thing to do. Vanessa is also a singer and loves to cook. Maybe we'll hear about that. He resides in Charlotte, North Carolina, USA, with her husband of over 25 years, their daughter, and a cat named Stripes.
Yes.
So great. It's so good to be here. Thank you, so many of you, for joining us. We already have a lot of people. I know, Vanessa, so many people are excited to see you. You have such a
Oh,
following.
oh,
Please follow Vanessa on Instagram, Facebook, and her website, Vanessa Brantley Newton. And that's the name on all of those, right? So easy, smart. Yay. Oh, well, welcome, welcome. I was so looking forward to this. I'm so excited. Um, you know, there's 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 so much that we all want to do to make things more fair for all people. Things aren't fair. That's the fact. Things aren't fair. It's that simple. It's like playing a game and somebody gets more turns at the board, at the dice.
yes,
And we want to make it more fair.
yes.
All of us, in every way, whatever we can do, that's the right thing to do. So I'm just going to start before we start looking at all your gorgeous books, and I'm going to show you a ton of her beautiful images, and she's going to tell you what an illustrator should do for picture books. I want to ask you, what can agents do? What can art directors do? What can illustrators do for Black Lives Matter, for diversity, for making the world a better place? Let's,
I personally think it starts with you. It starts with you, how you view the world, how you see things. I come from a very, very diverse background. And so my mom and dad showed me diversity when diversity was not this popular thing. It wasn't
is it
even
a
a
word?
big word,
Yeah,
you know.
wasn't even a
And
word.
exactly. And so we had everybody, white, black, Asian, Hispanic,
Mhm.
Latino, Jewish, everybody,
Mm,
Muslims stayed at our home because my mother and father, they were evangelists. And so everybody, if your child was gay, they came and stayed at our house because the parents didn't like it or whatever. So transgender, they came to our house.
you're so
And
lucky, all that richness.
very, very
That's
much. And so
richness.
that is richness.
Mm-hmm.
And I was exposed to all of that at an early age.
Yeah.
So when I went out in the world
Mhm.
and the world showed me racism, it was the first time, and that was at school. I walked into a classroom and the teacher let me know right away that she did not want me in her classroom. And I was the only chocolate chip in the classroom. And she did such damage. The racism did such
Of
damage
course.
that school for me just became this awful thing. But what I find that it starts at home.
Yeah.
It starts with how we talk to our children. It starts with how we view the world. And I think that if we got up and we really kind of stepped out on a limb and said, you know what, I'm going to greet somebody today that doesn't look like
Oh,
me.
here we are. I'm so sorry. I closed a window. But
No
here we are, and
problem.
you were telling such a
Hmm.
heartbreaking story. Please go on.
Yeah, but what I found was that being around the kind of people I was around and talking, my parents getting out into the community that was predominantly white, that did not expect black people to talk to them, or they talked to black people, and my mother took care of people. She was a midwife, so she took
Mm,
care of people. And the one thing I learned was that when a pregnant woman is having a baby, she don't give a flip whether you black or white.
that's right. That's right.
You just get me through this.
Right.
And so it made for wonderful relationships and building that. So it really starts with how you view yourself, uh, how you view yourself,
Yeah.
how you view others, and hopefully how we view the world. If we see too much of one thing,
Mhm.
can we ask, can we see something different? I can't talk.
It's one of these Skypes, huh? It's
Yeah,
one of these
yeah.
live. Hilarious. Well, it's the real world. Yeah.
So, yes,
So
but
the damage.
mhm,
What's so hard is that you have to fight the damage. You have to work harder
yes,
when you have oppressions. You
mhm,
have to work harder. So the normal person who gets beaten down by life or rejections for their work, you've needed to find a way to bring yourself back up,
yes,
to realize, and the more awareness you've had, the more you're able to realize it's not you and not internalize it.
right,
Like I've talked about this before, for me, being a woman in illustration in the 80s, like no, 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 and the kind of woman I am. So, um, it's so when I see someone like you, I know that you have a really strong core. I know that you have done stuff to keep your power. Do you want to share? That's such a big question, I know, but
well,
what?
it is the way I was raised, um, uh, and who my mom put me around. My mom and dad, who they really put me around. My mom and dad came from the South and were civil rights marchers as well. They marched in the civil rights,
Mm,
and um, they were just not closed minded that everybody hates black people. They knew the Jewish people that they walked with and that they ate dinner with and they
mm,
spent time with, that cared. They knew the white people that they walked with and had conversations and spent the night, and knew those people could get in trouble for even having black people in their homes. They develop these relationships, and so I'm about relationships. And so that has helped me move forward in a lot of ways. Is, find the people that are supportive of you, that want to be with you. I'm not forcing myself to be with people that don't want to be with me. That's your loss.
that's right.
I
It is their loss. They don't get
Exactly.
Vanessa.
Exactly. I, however, have had the joy of having good, solid relationships, because relationships require listening to each other. It requires accepting even the parts of each other that you don't understand or like.
Mm-hmm,
You still get to have that.
mm-hmm.
And so I love, love, love being exposed, going out in the world and seeing different things, meeting different people. I'm all for that. That's just really, really
So,
powerful for me.
so when you draw diversity in your books, it's obviously not like I should do diversity now. You lived it, you are it, you embrace. It's how you grew up.
Yes.
Yvette writes, Vanessa Newton, I'm listening to every word you say. Gemma says such amazing advice. Erica, amen. Absolutely. Lots of hearts are coming in. OG Mora says these facts, RN, heart, heart, heart. I don't know what RN is because I'm not under
Me either.
50. What's RN mean? These facts RN? I don't know. Oh, gee, tell us what that is. So, so what can agents and art directors do?
Um, be be open. Don't just, look at a white person and just say, oh, they're the answer. Look abroad. Look at the world as what it really is right now.
Yeah.
I tell people, black people are not a trend. We're not. This is
Right.
not going
That
anywhere.
is good.
We're here.
Right.
And so it is not just black people. It is Asian. It is East Indian, West Indian, Hispanic, and Latino. We gotta look a whole lot further.
Mm-hmm.
Our children. That this is the thing. Our children and the children of the world are dictating what is going to be now. And so it's not just going to be one dominant race that's going to run everything.
Yeah.
We have white and black people that are marrying and having
I
children.
know.
And now their requirement is that we want to see our babies.
Mm-hmm.
On pictures. I have a very good friend of mine who is over a website called Watermelon Egg Roll, and she is Hispanic and African American, and her husband is Korean, and
So beautiful.
they have this very mixed diverse family, and they're saying, we want to see more children's books or magazines or ads that reflect who we are
Mm-hmm.
because we buy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm asking editors to just be cognizant. Think a little bit outside of yourself. What is it that you can do?
Mm-hmm.
Just a small thing. Sometimes it's very, very small thing. It's saying, you know what? I want a picture of an African American child. I think I want an African American person to do it with the hairdos, with the skin type and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
get them to do it. It is not that white people can't draw black people. That's not it.
Right.
It is saying giving opportunities and opening doors for people of other ethnicities, especially African Americans, to have a voice
I love.
in art.
I love.
So,
I love it. And I'm going to show a few of your illustrations that show why your life and your point of view are brought into the illustrations, the accessories you show, and so
yes,
forth. That's a little tantalizing. Heads up. Um, Tony says, don't follow the formula. People are saying, absolutely, yes, right now. Thank you. Yes, 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 yes. And it means doing that extra work to search out illustrators, artists of color, of diversity. It's searching out. It's not that hard to do.
not that hard to do.
Not that
Not at
hard to do. I love it. My feeling has always been that diversity, like if you went into your town and you only got hamburgers, there was only hamburger shops, it's so boring. But when you have the abundance of different cultures and different things, it's richness. It's so much more interesting. It's so much more alive, and of course it's the right thing to do to reach out and extend. um, let's say an illustrator is white and they want to add diversity to their picture book, as simple as drawing kids of color, people of diverse backgrounds.
yes. Hmm.
Okay.
And it is a little bit more than that even. We're in a place where now we're hearing about our voices,
Mhm.
and how whites have been allowed for hundreds and hundreds of years to tell the stories of African Americans
Right.
or Asian Americans, Hispanic and Latino, and so forth. And so we want to have a voice
Hmm.
in this because there are stories that you will never hear about,
Right.
that you won't ever hear about because that's not what's trending, that's not what everybody wants to talk about. But like for instance, I'm Gullah Geechee. There's not a whole lot of books in children's realm about Gullah Geechee people. So to be able to tell that story, you would have to come to a Vanessa
Right.
who has experienced being in the Gullah Geechee life. And so I say for my artist friends who are illustrators, it's as easy as, like I said, making a friend. Not just make a friend because you want to illustrate them.
Right.
Make friends and find your own stories that you can tell,
Right.
okay? And study people.
Mhm.
I can't say it enough. Study, study, study,
Mhm.
study, study people. you just can't just don't draw just all white children. I draw every child.
Yes.
The part that I miss so much about New York, because I live in Charlotte, was I could go to Central Park and sit all day long and study people.
Yeah.
The most fashionable people that were not just white people, they were
And-
black men and women. One of the most famous ones in my head, and I was just telling some children about it. Black guy has a head full of locks that are pulled up into a large ponytail like a cone on his head, and the locks coming out of it, black hound dog's tooth suit from top to bottom, black and white, pointy black shoes on, and a little tiny mustache. He is forever etched in my head.
That's right.
And it was just fabulous. So you got to think of different ways. Think of different ways to get them
So
in.
so it's maybe, well, look what I have here. Um,
Yeah,
it's reading books by Black authors.
that's right.
Uh, by the
Absolutely.
way, this is by Tammy Charles, and the book
Yeah.
is called Like Vanessa, and the cover was illustrated by this Vanessa. Um, so what? And I wanted to. I don't know if you know this, but we had Tammy Charles come up to my house for my retreat
Yes.
and teach us about writing picture books and diversity. This was
She's
like
amazing.
several years ago. Such a good
She's
course, by the way. Do hire her. Art directors who are listening, do hire her for diversity. And of course, Vanessa, but I mean, you love Vanessa, hire her for everything. Um, so that's a great book. So, you read books by people of color, look at picture books by people of color, and just enjoy, but do it because it's the right thing to do, but do it because you're interested,
You're
not
interested.
guilt, not you
That's
should, not oh god I have to, but be interested.
be interested. Be interested. It makes you a well-rounded artist. As a matter of fact, I hear a lot of editors say to me now is that they won't even hire an illustrator if they do not have diversity in their portfolios. So it is very, very, very important to editors and to art directors that you have diversity in your portfolio.
And in my illustrating kid book class, it's like diversity, diversity, diversity. And if I'm interested in an artist, I need to see diversity in their work. We absolutely have to.
You have
We'd
to.
like them also to have diversity. You know,
Mhm.
um, we'd like to have more Black artists. We're actively pursuing artists of color. We're actively pursuing. Hello, newsflash. Um, it's something we need to, and we are making that effort because we want to, because otherwise it tends to be, not happen so much on its own.
That's right. Exactly. We need it. It's not about just throwing a black kid in the background
Right,
or
right,
or an Asian kid. Exactly, and saying I'm diverse. That's not it.
right, right.
It is even taking the fear away from it. When working with Tammy Sauer on Mary Had a Little Glam, she literally said to the editor, she said, "You know what? I want the character to be an African American character." So when it got passed to me, I was so excited. Tammy Sauer and I, we have this great respect and love, literal love for each other. It was such a joy to work on this book. And it made her heart so happy to see this active black character that had fashion and she was, glam and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it touched other little girls and not just little black girls. It touched little girls, period,
Right.
and little boys
Just
who
popped.
love fashion.
I
It
just
was just
popped it on the screen, Vanessa, so they could see it. Yeah. Oh, that's great. And we're going to look at some interiors of that book that you've
sure.
done. What a great book. Um, so I want to ask you. There's so many things I want to ask you. So, how was it for you to get to where you are? It wasn't always like this. You're not as
No, it
old
wasn't.
as me, but you know,
Was
it
it?
was not easy back
Not easy
when.
at all.
Back when.
Uh, I am dyslexic. Uh, I am black, if you haven't noticed. And just as far as school was concerned, school was just a downhill. After that one trauma, which was a post-traumatic stress syndrome, I didn't know until I went to counseling for it,
Yeah.
that it was a post-traumatic stress syndrome situation that
Right.
kind of just ran over everything. So school was not my happy place. I failed. And so I really want to say this to artists who have children, who maybe you feel like you failed as well. They didn't understand me. They didn't understand me. So I was in special ed. That's where they placed me.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, my mom and dad didn't really know how to be advocates for me.
Yeah.
But I had this awesome friend of the family, my mom's friend of the family, and I had two art teachers in school who really believed in me. And they were the ones who, kind of like, Vanessa, we're going to take you to FIT. We're going to put you in front of the right people because my SAT scores were boop, zero, awful. But these teachers believed in me so much so, and they were all three white teachers that really had my back and
Mm-hmm.
took me to New York, put me in front of the right people. I still didn't end up doing art for many, many years. I was a vampire for 25 years. I drew blood. I worked in a hospital with children. And yes, children was my patients. And I worked with children who didn't get to go home. So
Oh.
I'm gonna really try to keep this together and not fall apart. But I watched more children die
Oh.
and not go home to be with with their families. And I was the one who was there with them, along with the doctors. And I made friends with them, and I made friends with their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And still not having the expression that I wanted. I do a card every once in a while for somebody in the family. I draw a picture, but I really didn't have a career in art. And sometimes I'm saying this, Lilla, because sometimes we look at our lives and we go, why isn't it just happening the way that I planned it to happen? And I was walking down the hospital hallway. One of the counselors looked at me and she said, you used to smile when you worked here. You no longer smile. What's up?
Oh.
I told her, I can't reckon babies and young women dying of breast cancer that don't even have families yet. I don't understand. She said, what do you do for relaxation? Oh, I sing, I do music, and. But what do you do for real relaxation? I said, I love to draw. She said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to get a sketchbook and I want you to fill it with every baby that you lost. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And she said, I want you to fill these notebooks with every baby you ever lost. And I drew and I cried and I sobbed and I cried and I got angry and sometimes just lost it. But it got me to drawing children's faces, their clothing, how they react when they're happy, when they're sad.
Mm-hmm.
Not every baby died, but there were some children that didn't go home.
Mm-hmm.
And so for my babies that didn't get a chance to go home, I got to put them many years later in children's books.
Oh
And so a lot of the
God.
character see is me giving the child, I want to keep it together, giving the babies who lost
Yeah.
a second chance.
Oh, honey. Oh my God. That is so. I want to just tell you the comments are wow, heart, wow. Oh, Vanessa, incredible story, amazing. Well, goosebumps and tears. Oh my God, Vanessa, broken heart, so inspiring. I bet your presence was a blessing. We need more Vanessas in this world. You're so inspirational. Isn't she, though? Isn't this a great launch of the Live with Lilla? I love her. Wow, Vanessa, that was tough. That's so fabulous. Oh, no dry eyes here. That's so beautiful. That's amazing. So you weren't even an illustrator. You were working in healthcare. And then
Yep.
how did that go from boom to boom? How did it go?
Um, Literally 25 years working in a hospital. Just when I tell you loss, because sometimes how does it serve me? The kind of crazy things that happen, dead babies, young women and all that kind of stuff, and people, just young men dying and everything else of AIDS and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
And I got married, found a wonderful guy, got married, and he was an aeronautical engineer, brainiac, lost his job after 9/11. We lost a baby. We lost my mom. And I tell you, it was like labor pains. It was everything that could possibly happen was happening. And I was like, we don't have any money. What are we going to do?
Right.
And I remember being fired from a job. I worked in a hospital again, being fired from a job because the boss didn't like me. And I had to go to an SCBWI conference. Where am I going to get the money to go to this conference? We just lost the job. And my husband's collected unemployment or whatever. But I go to this SCBWI conference and I hear one of the best speeches I think I've ever heard about being an illustrator and how valuable illustration is. That we get to tell a story even without words. We still get to tell this wonderful story with pictures. And it empowered me. Went home, started playing on the internet, found a way to create a blog. Created this blog where I was going to share my process of how I was going to become an illustrator. And I would say to myself, I'm a published illustrator. Every day I would say it to myself. People would ask me, what do you do for a living? Never illustrated anything. I'm an illustrator. So it was, I felt like lying, but I was actually saying it because I felt it and I believed it. Um, Filled my living room, y'all. I want you to hear this. Filled my living room with all kinds of artwork. It was everywhere. To the point where my husband got so upset with me one day, he told me, he said, clean up the damn living room. All this artwork everywhere. We have to eat. I was like, we ain't got no money to eat, so why are we cleaning up? So I just left it there. A friend of mine said, Vanessa, I want to come over. I just want to spend some inspirational time with you. So she comes over and she walks through the door. She sees all this artwork and she goes, Vanessa, who does all this artwork? I said, me. She said, Vanessa, in all the years that we've known each other, you never told me you illustrated. I said, well, I'm kind of like a wannabe. I tell people that I'm an illustrator, but I'm. And she goes, do you know who I work for? I kid you not, y'all. She says, Vanessa, do you know who I work for? I said, no. She said, Vanessa, all the years that we've been together, 8 years, you've never asked me who I work for. You don't know who I work for? No. She says, Vanessa, I work for Scholastic Books. You're hired. That's
Wow.
my first illustration job, and I've been illustrating ever since. Karen Proctor used to be an editor over at Scholastic Books, and she saw my work, and I've been working ever since in children's books.
Okay,
So
so how long ago was that when she hired you?
about 15 years ago,
Okay, 15 years ago. She hired you as staff or to do
she hired me as an illustrator. That's all.
a freelance illustrator to illustrate a
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
that's how you got your thing.
And I
Wow.
and
Wow.
it wasn't even an illustrated book. It was a magazine called Read and Rise magazine with the Urban League, and it was just a couple of pictures,
Mhm.
but editors saw those pictures. And editors started to ask, "Who is Vanessa? Who's Vanessa Newton?" At the time, I used Vanessa Newton, and one of the editors said, "Hey, listen, I got a lady you need to talk to," and that's how I met my agent. So
Lori.
yes,
Lori
I met Lori.
Nowicki. We talked. Hi, Lori. I'm so glad you're here. And so Vanessa's represented by another agent, Lori Nowicki, who I think is wonderful. By the way, I'm jealous. Okay, I wish that I had her, but I can't have everybody. That's great. So I'm glad she's an agent. I'm happy when people are represented by good people. Like I want everybody. I'm basically a matchmaker. I want everybody placed.
She's
So that was
awesome.
that was 15 years ago, and then you just kept getting more and more. 87 books later, here you are today.
Yep,
Unbelievable. Do you want
yeah.
to change your background?
I've been trying to change the stupid background. You guys forgive me. I'm usually on Zoom,
Oh,
and so trying to go back to these backgrounds and change them. I'm going to go back. Here we go. There's my
oh,
office.
yay! Because I want everybody to see this gorgeous book. Um, so I think we should dive in and look at your beautiful pictures.
Sure.
Beautiful pictures. Okay, so we have Grandma's purse here. Oh, wait, I just want to show you one of my many favorites that Vanessa did. This is just a gorgeous piece. This is She Writes at Night. Um, you know, she gives that extra, the hair, the glasses, the pencil, and of course that shirt. That shirt
Yes.
is so
Yes.
fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the shirt.
Oh, the shirt. Well, I wear a lot of Afrocentric clothing,
Mm-hmm.
um, and green is one of my favorite colors.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw this print, it was actually from a piece of fabric that I had, and so I just scanned it into the computer, and then I put it on her in Photoshop. So
It's fantastic. And to make that choice and to use it so well in the jeans and the keyboard is so nice.
yeah,
Okay. So we're going to look at a few of Grandma's Purse. This is a
yeah,
book you wrote and illustrated.
yes, I did.
And I love this book. I own this book. I took these photos. And the reason why I love this book because, well, of course, the grandma character is amazing. But I selected this image because um oh wait, no, these are your photos. I apologize, but whatever. The skirt, okay? It's
Yes,
like this is the kind of thing that because it's culturally your life, it is
yes.
more Afrocentric in the styling. And
Oh,
I'm going to show a few of the things in there. Of course, your girl is great. The character is great. The grandma is great. Great. We love this. I'm going to show another one. This is now grandma sitting at the on the sofa, and look at the photos in the background. Okay, so it's all about people of color, which is your life. You understand it's
right.
who you are, and I love that. So it's more than just she happens to be black, but
Yeah,
it is like what a grandma this grandma's wall would look like. It's fabulous.
absolutely.
It's so great. And the toy hanging from the door and the toy on the caterpillar on the floor. It's really spectacular. That sofa is so good.
I wish I had that sofa.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. I used to draw clothes I wanted to, I liked my, so when I was in art school, if I had red hair, drew red hair, I'd dye my hair red and, so, so
I love it.
just,
I love
okay, this is, let me make it a little smaller so we can see the text. Will you show me what's inside? And the pot, again, Afrocentric design. I love that. So, because it's not just kids want to see, black kids and white kids want to see this.
it. Yes,
Um, but do more than just the color of the kid's skin.
that's
You
right.
concur.
Exactly. Putting those little Afrocentric things in there,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what my home is like.
Mm-hmm.
If you came in, you would see it's not just American, but there are,
Whatever
uh,
that is, by the way.
yeah, it is Afrocentric. It is eclectic, very, very eclectic.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Which is America.
which is America.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you put those things in, I mean, look at the curtains. The curtains have, really big, large flowers. And that was a pattern that I found on some old fabric that I got from a friend of mine from the 1950s. And so there were sheets and different things that she was throwing away. And I just took it and scanned it in the computer and used it to put in, as the curtains.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a Afrocentric home,
Right.
but it has those little touches through it, and children do look for that stuff. They look for little things that they can go, you know what, we have that at our house. We have those kind of curtains,
Yeah.
or we have that kind of coffee table, or even a little table and chairs that she plays with her little crayons.
Mm-hmm.
I have a book like that, or
Mm-hmm.
a truck that's green like that.
Mm-hmm.
They look for those little things.
So I'm so excited right now because so many illustrators are watching this. And what's so cool is that they're going to begin to integrate this kind of imagery in the books.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's going to be a lot of change happening right here, starting here.
Yeah.
I want to read you some comments. Julie says, Vanessa, you have the most infectious, beautiful smile. Gita
Oh,
Ali says, so inspiring. Veronica says, it's so important to see Black family life.
yes, it is very.
Yeah, yeah, and what is Black? Okay, I mean, it can be African, it can be Caribbean, it can be like born and raised You know,
Every
my people came over at the turn of last century. I'm second generation. There are a
Oh
lot of
wow,
African Americans who are uh, fifth, 10th generation
right.
and have
That's
been
right.
here way longer than me, you know?
we're we're called the reluctant immigrants, and we didn't want
Hmm.
to come.
Right,
But it is true, just what one of the beautiful young ladies just said about black characters. We think sometimes that it's only a black mother and child. There are fathers. I had a father that lived at home with us and
right.
worked every day, and so you want to think too. Just don't, stereotype or uh, it's an African American mom and her child, and that's it. Think about complete African American families.
Hmm.
That's really important.
Yeah, it's so true. And so what is it? What it can be so many things, and I know not everybody is around a black community. I
That's right.
understand that, and so for some of you, it will require reaching out, doing that extra work to get to know. And I will tell you, it's good for your career, but more
Yes,
importantly, it's good for humanity. Yeah,
that's it.
it's good for humanity.
Yeah.
Um, and you want to do what's good for your career, of course, but you got to
Hmm.
live with yourself, and
That's
you
right.
want to be able to know that you're helping. Want to know that you're helping. Okay, let us look at Just Like Me. This is another book that Vanessa did. I'm going to move that logo out of here so we can see Vanessa. Love this cover, so gorgeous. And look at the painting in the background of this wonderful girl character. So good. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this book, Vanessa, that you wrote and illustrated? One of
Yes.
87 books you've done. I just keep
Yep.
saying
So
it.
I've written five, but I've illustrated 87 of them. But this book is very near and dear to me because uh, I wanted every little girl in the world to be able to pick up this book and see themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important that children see themselves. That's
Right,
really, really important because as a child, I didn't get to see myself.
right,
So I swore I was invisible. I literally swore I was invisible.
right.
And how it makes you feel as far as your self-esteem is concerned that nobody loves me, nobody cares about me because I'm not seen. And so
You're
Ezra,
marginalized, you're minimized.
yes,
Absolutely, it's the worst.
exactly. So Ezra Jack Keats coming along and doing this wonderful little boy named Peter that is iconic now, has become a stamp, has become a doll, the best-selling children's book ever. It is just a very, very powerful tool. And what I wanted to do was give every little girl this chance that I see you with your red hair that you can't control.
Mm-hmm.
I see you with your dark brown skin and maybe your short hair or your little pigtails. I see you in your beautiful blue eyes. I see you in your Asian, beautiful, warm skin and long black hair. I see you. And that's the message that I want to give to children is that I see you.
Mm-hmm.
I see you. If nobody else sees you, I see you and I see you as beautiful.
I love that.
And so it meant everything in the world to be able to share this book. I remember going and sitting with Kelly Delaney and Lori, and my agent, who does not cry, who does not shed tears, was sitting there with tears streaming down her face as I read the poetry because I was connecting with that little girl who just played with every child. I got a chance to do that. And I wanted to give girls who read this book the chance to play and understand each other. That what makes us different really makes us the same.
So that's beautiful. Let's look at an inside picture. This is City and Country Dreams. It's such a beautiful
That's my
spread.
favorite. Yes.
So beautiful. The the and it's the hairstyles of the two kids, the beautiful painterly background, the scenes, just fantastic. So
Yeah, I had
beautiful.
such fun doing this collage and making the papers. The papers that you see throughout the book are painted by me. I just took a day
Wow.
and painted papers that I wanted to see, and being able to put them on top was just everything.
So great. Let's look at another interior spread. This is the negotiator and little sister. So beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful. I love those papers. I love seeing the papers that you made. And that's so great because then you, of course, can use them and have control over them. Some comments are opens my heart, gorgeous. Vanessa, you are the best ambassador for love and equity, equality, says Lynn Gaines. Hi, Lynn. Kay
Hey,
is
sis.
beautiful. I'm relating to this book. I need to get it, says Rocio Mariposa. Katrina says getting this book now. That's so great. Let's look at Mary Had a Little Glam.
Yes,
I love that.
one of my favorites. Yes,
I love that. Just, I mean, the title's so great, but look at how she creates this girl character who is over the top. Tell us
yes.
about that.
Oh my goodness. I thought about how I dressed my daughter Zoe. Zoe couldn't stand dresses, but I put, put them on her anyway. I loved dressing her and making her stand out
Hmm.
with clothing. And so when I got to do Mary Had a Little Glam, I really just wanted her to be so out there, glamorous, a little bit of me, a little bit of RuPaul, a little bit of,
Yeah.
in there. And she was just so much fun to do. The
Let's
first
see
part
that.
of the book says, yeah, Mary had a little glam that grew into a lot. And everywhere that Mary went, she wasn't hard to spot. And that, to really make her not hard to spot, she had to be glamorous. So it was just fun,
Let's
getting to do that fashion part.
let's look at another interior, an interior. This is I love this so much. Is that your shower curtain? Uh,
Yes.
but on the day she started school, she caught some by surprise. Sweet Mary shrugged and hugged her mom. I must accessorize. Wow. I hope everybody goes out and buys the book.
Oh yeah, Tim Gunn just read it.
What?
On yes, from what is it? Project Runway. It was it was fantastic.
Oh my God, that is so. You got to put that in your bio, by the way. Okay, back to this picture. This is so great. Okay, let's just talk for a moment. She shows emotion. She shows, and in my course, which starts a week from today, illustrating children's books with Zoe, which I'm thrilled to say that Vanessa was in that class. I was so honored
What?
when I saw her there. What an honor. Um, let's go back. So you're going, we talk about things like the poses, the energy, the emotion. Kids may not understand language. They're little. They might be 1, 2, 3, 4 years old, but they can read faces.
Yes, they
They
can.
read eyes. They read expressions. Okay. So it's important to tell the story visually, which you do. So it's all about this over the top kid with and Vanessa does that so beautifully. Let's look at another one. Um yeah, there you go. Will you read this one? Mary Had a Little Glam. Do you can you or
It
sh-
said
can you
yes.
find that
So
in the
yes, it says Mary had a little glam that grew into a lot, and everywhere that Mary went, she wasn't hard to spot.
but on
But
the
on
day
the day she
yeah,
started school, she caught some by surprise. Sweet Mary shrugged and hugged her mom. I must
and
accessorize.
look at this kid and the hair is authentic. Now look,
Yes,
not every black kid has to have fabulous hair, okay?
yes,
And we don't want to
yes,
stereotype, but have it as one of the tools in your toolkit,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely. And you do that through looking at black children. Now I will tell you, when you type in black beauty on the internet, all white pictures come up. I don't know why, but it's that way. I've been doing it for years, and that's what comes up. But if you type in African American hairdos
Okay.
for children, you will be surprised. Even if you go on Pinterest, you'll find all kinds.
Oh, that's
So
such a great tip.
yeah,
Yeah, that's so great. So when I was an illustrator a million years ago, first of all, just being a woman in that field was tough, and a woman like me. And so when you got an assignment about just think of anything that you might have for a magazine article, you always drew a white man because that
Mhm.
was generic.
That's right.
Anything beyond, like if you did a woman, well, no, it's not about women. It's not about black people. No, it's not about Asian. No, a white man was generic, and that's what you did. And that, but what I would do over time is and then when it became a thing, like begin to draw different types of people. I didn't want the black person, the white person, whatever that is, too. Like, is it like Nordic person? What is white? Is it Southern Italian? There's is it Jewish? Like, what is that? So I would mix features.
Yes.
I would mix features, which I love to do, and I didn't want it to be a stereotype of each thing. But anyway, enough about me. Let's go back to the next interior. This is Mary had a little glam that grew into a lot, and everywhere that Mary went, she wasn't hard to spot. I love this style, by the way, and I
Oh,
love
thank
this page. I love it. First of all, right away, the faces in the foreground of the guy and the woman
you.
with their
Uh-huh.
coffees are looking to the right at Mary. All
Yes.
eyes are on her. So
All
the
eyes on her.
child is direct. And of course, Vanessa knew what she was doing here. I mean, this. And so they're all looking at the girl who, of course, has the bags, the pants, the necklace, the purse, the scarf, the yellow poncho, the hair things, the
Yeah.
bows is the
The
word.
Bible.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's just, and also that yellow pops more than any other color on there.
Yes, it
So she's
does.
really controlling where you go to the main character, that you do go to the main character. That's so important. And she
Yeah.
sets the stage, like the place. We know where this is, we know what this is, we know
Yeah.
what's going on here. Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
I love it. Let's go to another, because I love this so much. This is just incredible. This is the classroom. When Mary took a look around, her heart was filled with woe. The other kids in class with her were glamless head to toe. So, again, all the eyes are looking at Mary on the left, and she's like, look at the expression on every face. The open eyes wide, the eyebrows, the
Mhm.
girl, the third from the left in the yellow, with her hand kind of covering her mouth. So notice too that Vanessa doesn't do the same expression over
Nope.
and over. Each one is a little different, okay? Because that's life. You don't want to have a
Yeah.
rubber stamp.
That's right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I think you nailed that right there. It was that every child's going to have a different reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Some are reacting with, "Oh my goodness, that is awesome." Others are reacting like, "What the heck is that?" We've all been dressing these clothes for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
And here she comes and she's going to change things. So I want to give those raised eyebrows or those scowls or those surprise. So I study those faces.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that piece. So great. See, now you know why she's called back 87 times to illustrate. And what's cool too is that you have different looks and feels. You could
Yes,
call
I
it
do.
different styles. It just gives you more opportunities
It does.
because there's a different vibe.
Mhm.
So I did different media.
Mhm.
Didn't have different looks, but I had different media. So, whether it's pastel or oil paint or black and white or clean or minimal. And
Yeah.
and it was almost like, and this is true with you too, it's almost like you are representing all these different Vanessas, like, right?
Yes.
And what you're doing is you have more products in your shop. So you
Yes.
get more work. It's a really smart thing to do. And I know you probably
Very
didn't
true.
do it as a strategy. It's just like you want to use every material and work in all different ways.
It's so very true.
Yeah.
I get bored very, very easy. So, to me, to change it up, and especially if you're stuck,
Mhm.
I find for illustrators who are stuck and I really can't seem to break through, whatever,
Mhm.
try a different medium.
Right.
I've taken a couple of Lilla's classes, And the one thing I love doing is trying different things. So I don't do a whole lot of pen and ink, but when she did her pen and ink drawings, I pulled out the pen and ink
And create
and I tried it, and it felt good. It felt good.
it does it.
Cut.
It's how it feels to me.
Yes,
It's the
yes.
feeling of making that line. For me, I love
Me,
line and
me too.
color smushes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, well, we'll talk about me another time. Okay. So, Let Freedom Ring. This is so gorgeous. And it has
Oh,
the Ben Sean ish lettering of Let Freedom Ring is so cool. Appropriate for the time,
yes.
appropriate for the time of the 60s, 50s, 60s.
Yes.
So fantastic. And look how she makes the people, the crowd. You know, it's a huge crowd. It's busting out over the confines
Yes.
of the page on the right and left. How the people obviously get smaller as you go back. Um, you feel the energy. You feel letting freedom sing. It's so
Yes.
fantastic. Um, Rocio says, Vanessa, your work appeals to all ages. It's sophisticated. That is so hard to do. Any advice for us? That's a tough question.
That is a tough
I,
question,
I
and you know what?
sorry.
I'm still trying to find my way around it. You know, even at age 57, I'm still learning so much stuff. The thing is that I love fashion so much that it was very important for me to get the clothing right,
Mm,
and a lot of that, even in books that I do, getting the clothing right, making the kid feel, especially the protagonist in the book,
mhm.
making the protagonist feel good. And literally, you know, it's not for everybody. Hear me, it's not for everybody. I talk to the character. I literally talk to the character. What do you want to look like? What do you want to wear today?
I-
It's kind of like dressing my child. What would you like to have for breakfast? What would you like your hairdo to look like today? Do you want something messy, or do you want something, short or long or whatever? I talk to the character, and the character talks back to me. And how the character talks back to me is basically whatever I feel. That's what I do.
That is the coolest advice I've heard in a very long time. I love that so much. Yeah, I talk about acting like I will act the part when I was an illustrator. You took my creative bug class, and it was just my
Right.
son and his girlfriend, who are in their 20s, were just doing it yesterday right here in my studio. It was so fantastic. And I remember, I forget everything that I filmed. It's so weird. I'm like, oh, wow, I did that. That's cool. I
Yeah.
forget what I
It,
did
it
because you
was. It
forget
was.
like
It was
immediately.
excellent.
But I did say how, I get in the role, but I love that you asked the
I ask
character.
I ask the characters all the time. What do you want to look like? What's important? For the Martin Luther King character, on Let Freedom Sing, I didn't want to draw him exactly like he was,
Mm-hmm.
because I want children to play with their imagination too, to see, what they kind of figure in their head. But like the man in the gray suit, that's my father.
Wow.
And so that's the other thing too I want to encourage artists with is play with your imagination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can put characters that you know in a book, put characters in the book that you know. Suzanne Kaufman is a very good friend of mine. She's another illustrator. She puts me in her books all the time as a child. It's amazing. So
Well,
think of other people that you can put in.
well, what you're talking about is you make it personal.
Yeah,
You really make it personal. You connect, you own it, you make it yours.
yeah,
There's a reason why you've done 87 books. I'm going to say that there's a reason. And people, you are hearing gold right now. You are hearing why someone of Vanessa's stature is where she is. Let's look
thank
at
you.
Math Girl. I
Yes,
mean, I love this. It's absolutely beautiful. What's so cool about this piece, besides the amazing girl, and of course the orange pops against the green, and her hair is so fabulous and everything, is it's an abstract painting, really. It's beautiful. If you remove the girl, you have really an abstract painting that is lines and shape and color. This is one of my favorites. I love
yes.
this so much.
So has gotten a lot of hits on Instagram.
Yeah.
Uh, Taraji Henson. came on and spoke on this particular piece.
Wow.
But when I created this, it was for SCBWI,
Mm.
for the magazine. And
Will you tell
uh,
us SBWI is?
yes, SCBWI was, which is a Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Oliver actually heads it up, and one of her wonderful people, Sarah Baker, who is also an illustrator, called me and said, "Hey V, would you like to do a cover for the magazine?" And this was after, some of you know, of a debacle that happened with SCB, but not SCBWI, but with Scholastic Books over a book that I did, and it was a joy to have her call me and say, "Hey, Vanessa, listen, I understand all the crazy that you just went through with this book, but will you do a cover for our magazine?" And it was the time when Hidden Figures had just come out. I went berserk. I just lost it all together. And I wanted to do something that would be iconic and stay in people's minds. People ask me more about this piece than any other piece I think I've ever done.
I love
So
it so much. I
thank you.
love it. It's just, I don't want to take it down and move to the next one.
Sure.
I don't. Okay, but I'm going to. Black Hair Magic. Tell us
Yes.
about this. This is different
Yes.
lettering.
Oh, I tease all the time, but it's true. Black people's hair is magical.
Mm-hmm.
You go out in you go out in the weather, and if it's humid outside, it swells up and it gets big.
Mm-hmm.
If it's cold outside, it shrinks up and it
Mm-hmm.
shortens. But then if you put heat to it, you can make it very, very long. You know, and so it is magical, all the different states that we go through: curl, straight, weaved, cornrowed, all these different hairstyles. And a lot of other people's hair can't take all of that, but we get a chance to sculpt our hair.
Yeah.
Patti LaBelle, if you remember Patti
I
LaBelle back in
loved her.
the
Listened to her nonstop in the 70s.
exactly. In the 80s and the 90s, when she would wear her hair standing straight up on her head, it caused other people to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to try those colors. I'm going to try that hairdo." And so that's what this is about, Black Hair Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so it's just I love that one. It's so great. Um, yeah, it is an important part because black hair went against the white
Yeah.
norm of hair. It went against, it wasn't, it's so important. I mean, my hair in my own little way, it's sort of, now that I'm older, but my hair used to be extremely curly. And I remember the head of the department said to me, "Will you brush your hair?
See?
Straighten it." And it's like, um, it, at black hair is a whole thing. You can research it, look into it if you're not familiar with that. It's important.
Yes.
Okay. I love this guy. I love this guy, Vanessa. Tell us, what
Oh,
was this for?
container. Yeah.
Contained emotions.
Yes. It was really to reflect what my husband and what so many Black men in America have to deal with as far as their emotions are concerned. Um, oh, that Black men are dangerous. Oh, they get angry. And they have a right to be angry. They have a right to
Yeah.
feel how they feel. And it was really how it all can be compressed and try to be contained. And it can't. It can't. And I have to love them. I have to love them right where they are, and to love my husband in all the things. My husband has been uh, arrested for driving while Black, mind his own business. To hear my husband on the phone, I would get comments from people who said, "Oh, are you married to somebody white?" And it was because of his voice. They would go, "Oh, it must be a white man." And different things that he's had to contain all of his life, and how our life doesn't reflect that because of the friends that we have, because of the family that we have. And then, like I said, trying to pressurize and put it all in
Stuff it
there.
in. And is he stuffing it into a bottle?
And he's stuffing it into a bottle. He's stuffing it into a bottle. And hopefully what he'll get is back love. Not all the time. But my husband knows that he's very much loved. Very much loved. Very much respected. Yes.
Don't you feel, though, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger? Like, look
What
how
does
strong you are.
what doesn't my mother used to say to me all the time, what doesn't kill you fattens you for the journey.
Mm.
And this has really fattened me for the journey.
Right, right, right. So my daughter, um, few years, when was this? Um, so a few years ago or so, was dating a guy who went to RISD. My daughter went to Parsons. He went to RISD and he was black and he graduated and
Mm-hmm.
he was here with us and he said, you know, it's going to be 10 times harder for me because I'm black.
Yes.
And I said, you're right. Because, first
Yep.
of all, I'm not, oh, no, it's not. That's bullshit. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
It's bull. And I said, yeah, it is going to be 10 times harder, but you're going to be 10 times better. You make yourself 10 times better. You make yourself so much better that you're going to outlast anybody. And I was just telling, I think my son yesterday, like, there aren't a lot of illustrators. I had to be 10 times better because as a woman and my style wasn't like sort of mainstream, kind of mainstream America. Um, and I had, as a woman, I had to, because most art directors were men, most the manuscripts were written mostly by men. And as I said, in the 80s. And so I had to make myself
Mm-hmm.
so good, and
That's
push
right.
myself. But now look, here it is, 40 years later. I'm still in the
You know,
biz.
it's still there. It's so powerful that you said that because while I was at FIT, I had a teacher, and I don't mind saying her name, Anna Ishikawa. She was a Japanese artist, and I thought she was the meanest teacher in the world when I met her. She was just horrible to me, I thought.
Oh,
And I remember at the end of the school year, I go to her office, and she had a very thick accent. And she goes, "Sit down, Brantley. Let me talk to you." She said, "You think your mother and father sent your black ass," that's what she said, "to school to fail?" And I was like, "No." And I'm crying at this point and everything. And she says, "You have to be a whole lot tougher. You have to work harder. They have to see your artwork." And I can just cry right now thinking about it. "You have to work harder, but Vanessa, so that they see your work before they ever see your face. Before they ever see your face, let them see your work." And that is what has carried me these years, is that it's not my face so much. It was before the internet and showing your face to everybody. People would come to my blog purely because of the work and how it made them feel. And then they would click on and go, "Oh, she's black." It was the best response. It was the best response. I hated it, but it was the best response.
and illustration was a way that you could do your work
That's right.
because people before the internet
Yes.
didn't know if you were black or not, which
That's
sucks, but it was one of the ways you could make it.
I could
And
make
you
that.
had to be 10 times better, and you are 10 times better, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
You
Thank you.
are. You
That's gold coming from you. Thank you very much.
oh, I think let's just sit here and love each other. So great. Okay, let's look at more of her beautiful art. Do the right thing. I picked this one to show too. I mean, there's like 50 I wanted to pick of yours, but I could only. I love the movement, the characters. It looks like you just like knocked this off. You probably did. The
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it was sketch. It was sketch right out of my sketchbook.
yeah.
And a morning sketch at that. I was trying out those new pens from Loft.
Oh, what are they? What are they called?
Um, they're I have a couple of them here actually. This is Timbo. That's what they
Oh, I
are.
have those. I like those with the two
Yeah,
points, the
with the
brush
two
and the
points.
pointing.
Exactly, exactly. And I just wanted to play with it and see how it came out. And
Mhm.
it's the morning's loose sketches that I do, and they loved it so much that they asked, "Hey, can you take this, clean it up, and let's use it for
Wait,
something."
who
So
did? Who did? Who asked?
my agent, Lori,
Oh,
asked me. She said, "I love this so much. The energy that's coming
yeah.
from them." I think it was a card company that actually called. I'm not sure if it was Hallmark or American Greeting,
Yeah,
but they asked could they use the piece for a greeting card.
that's so great. You see, you never know. Did you say you do morning art pages?
Yes, I do. I fill a
Ooh,
sketchbook. I have a sketchbook that is so full of artwork, it is ridiculous how much
I bet
artwork,
gold.
but it's gold. It is gold. And I wasn't a sketcher. I wasn't a sketcher. I
Yeah,
don't know why.
yeah,
I like just going straight to finish,
yeah.
but sketching has really helped me to loosen up
Hmm.
and to become more loose, find different ways. And I fill the sketchbook with all kinds of media.
And
That's the thing.
you do this in the morning? Like, is it
I
like morning pages, like morning journaling? And it
Right.
just frees you?
That's it. Put on the music. I put on lots of music. I play lots of music in my office,
Yeah,
and so the music. And I'm a prayer as well. So during my meditation time and praying, that's what I do.
so beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
know there. So someone said, "Oh, tell us about your." Rocio said, "Tell us about your morning sketches. Is that a daily practice you have?" Carrie says this conversation is very inspiring. Sue says, "Great idea." Leah Quinn says, "A big yes to morning sketches." Um, Brenda says, "This whole interview is gold. I'm having a ball right now. Can you tell?"
I'm so glad.
I'm having a ball. I don't want it
Um,
to end. We have some more pictures though. We're not ending yet.
yes,
This is spectacular. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. Look at the different, subtly different skin tones, by the way. Of course, the hair, all the different heads of hair, the
yes.
clothing, the flat shapes. Her anatomy is impeccable. Even though it's
I know,
stylized,
like,
it's
yeah.
impeccable.
I watch, like I said, I watch children. I'm constantly looking at them and watching them. And I'm a big church goer.
Mhm.
Churches, where we see people dress up, and even if they go to synagogue, I still love to see women wear hats and things
Mhm.
like that. And so in doing this, it took me back to when I was a kid. And Easter Sunday was everything. It was,
Mhm.
it was everything. And so everybody got to dress up, and it just took me back to that, and just that soft yellow in the background, and how brown skin of all, not just even brown skin, because white people, you're brown too.
Right.
You're just a little,
Nobody's
you're just a little
literally
version,
white. Nobody's
but you're brown.
literally white. Right.
And so I wanted to include everybody in there just to see what it would look like, and I had so much fun doing it. So much fun doing that piece.
Oh, what does this say? Oh, Jennifer Potter. Hi, Jennifer, my artist. The boy messing with that girl's hat. Yeah, so fabulous. Um, it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that. Okay, let's look at I Am Awesome. I Am
Yes.
Awesome. Tell us about this. That's an
And
amazing
that is,
child.
yes, this is from a picture I actually found on the internet. I actually found it at Pinterest.
Hmm.
And it is a poem that I wanted children to look at and read and know that they were awesome. That you're not awesome just because you get good grades.
Right.
You're not awesome because you're a certain color. You're not awesome because your hair is this. You're awesome simply because you're you,
Hmm.
and that nobody else is you. And so I wanted to share that with them. And just that little people can do great things. I think that's really what I want to tell people, or young people, when they look at my books, is that we're expecting great people to be older and bigger than us, but you
Uh,
can do great things at 3 years old. You can do great things at 5 or 7 or 8.
yeah.
That's what I really want to instill in children, that your worth is not just in what you can do, it's in who you are.
I, you know,
That
I, and I think what you're telling that to you.
Yes,
You're telling
yes,
that to you, and because you, Vanessa, dealt with all crap,
yes,
the crap that you have dealt with and continue,
yes,
hopefully to a lesser degree, because you're very respected, which is, you should be respected at zero, but that's another story. But you understand that hurt, that shame, that invisibility, and you're speaking to that, and because you've experienced that, you can do what you do so well.
It's so true.
So, do we wish you hadn't had any of that pain and heartache?
Of course.
Of course, but
I welcome it. I mean,
it
we
made
like,
you great.
that's it. We love antique furniture not because it hasn't gone any through we through anything. We love antique furniture because there's some
Bumps.
tarnishing
Yeah.
and some different things that have happened to it.
Mhm.
And so I tell parents all the time, I could care less about grown folk.
About what?
I could care less about grown folk. I care about your kid.
Yeah.
If I can get to your kid, and I'm telling you now, if you don't want your child to be diverse, don't put them in front of me. Don't put my books in front of them because I am diverse and I'm going to teach your child to love themselves
Yeah.
and to then hopefully embrace and love others.
Hmm.
That's my message. So
That's why you were put here.
I'm for kids. Yep.
Yeah, in a nutshell. Okay. I picked this one out too. It's just like you were having fun doing this. Tell us about this one. This is IMG 2465. The woman with the newspaper nose,
Oh my
the
goodness.
yellow hat.
Oh my goodness. This is paper that I made except for the hat.
Mm.
But it's paper that I made and paper that I found. I had the awesome chance to teach some children on collage and what's collage about. And so I told them, of course, about making their own painted papers, but also how, the noses don't have to be just one color. One of your artists that does this for me and I love so much is Sarah Walsh.
Mhm.
I love myself some Sarah Walsh. Yes, I do. Because Sarah will paint the nose blue.
Yeah.
She will paint it pink. She will make the eye, the eye can, of course, be white. But Sarah will paint it blue and make the pupil of the eye blue as well.
Mhm.
And it just really kind of inspired me. You know what? Let's try a different nose. They're not used to seeing Lilla black characters with blue noses.
Mm.
But I gave characters blue noses. I gave them paper noses with words on them.
Mm.
And just to be able to play that way kind of loosens it up and frees it to be what it just needs to be. And so I love this character.
I love it too. I love it. So we see that it's just this very exciting piece. I mean, the glasses, the black shapes with the white around it alone, the skin tone with the paint marks and the red in the cheeks, so fantastic. But yet there's a deeper story to it too. It's like a superpower. Okay,
Oh,
joy chasing joy, beautiful, just an
yes,
amazing child.
yes.
The
Well, she's
energy, her joy. I mean, this is joy. This is joy. Tell us about this one.
Um, I keep a portfolio full of characters that I can show Lori to say, hey, listen, I was thinking about doing a story on this one, and this was a character that I just wanted to be filled with joy. Joy is not about everything being right in your world.
Mhm.
That's not what joy is about. Joy is about finding the moments that really mean something to you and latching onto them with hope. And so this little girl knows that her world is not perfect, but she has other things to grasp and to look forward to.
Mhm.
And that brings her heart joy. And so this is why I did her. I wanted her to be on my website. So on my blog page at oolaladesign .blogspot.com, you will find her on that website. So
It's fantastic. It's so beautiful. I love it. I have nothing to say, but I love it.
thank you.
Here's Lila Flowers. Here again, you're departing and doing a very painterly piece.
Yes.
Very painterly, very, I'm going to put her right in between us. I've moved her between. And you're getting very painterly here. Is this more recent work?
This is more recent. Yeah,
Mhm.
this is more recent. Before Corona came out, I was doing a lot of traveling, and so I did her while I was sitting on the airplane.
Where it's you're
Ac-
traveling for book signings?
I was actually traveling for book signings. Yes, for Just Like Me. Yes. And kind of just wanted to do something fresh and new and different. Filling those sketchbooks now, and I only do small ones. I don't like to do big ones so much because I feel like, oh, I can't commit to it. But I'm starting off with the small ones first.
How big is small?
Um,
Like as big
hold
as
on.
the phone?
It is. I'm sorry.
No, this is real. I love this.
This is real life. Okay,
This real,
so this is one of the ones that I'm filling up now, and just some of
oh,
the little pieces that I have in there,
oh.
characters that I'm working on.
And this
Uh,
is like as big as your hand, right? Like
it's as
big.
big as my hand. Yep.
Wow. Oh, I love that.
So
Oh, that's so good. You show that to Lori. Lori, are you
yeah,
watching?
that's
That
real.
an amazing book too.
Absolutely. I practice Tai Chi, so I did a little boy practicing Tai Chi,
You're
and
amazing.
it's just to I find that when I do them smaller like this, I can commit to it and finish it,
Each
and that's what I'm gonna do.
each one you knock out of the park. It's so good. Lori,
I
I'm
have
so jealous. I'm
I have
so
some fun.
jealous. Oh, but I can buy the book, so that's okay. I guess it's my consolation prize. Okay, this is new book Becoming Vanessa. It's a
Yes.
blue
I'm
background
so excited
about
about this
this
book.
lovely girl.
Yes, I'm so excited about her. This was due to a long conversation I had with the editor, Kelly Delaney, over at Random House.
Mhm.
And I told her about how I didn't like my name as a child. And it was because the teacher, that same teacher I was sharing with in the beginning,
Mhm.
said that my name was too big for me. And I didn't understand. I was like, what does that mean that my name is too big for me? And I was afraid to go home and even tell my mom and dad. And my mom was pregnant at the time. And I remember going home and saying, "Well, why did you name me Vanessa? It's I'm dyslexic, and I didn't know I was dyslexic then, but I told her I had to use two S's and two A's, and it's just hard." And she sat me on her lap and she told me, she said, "I named you Vanessa because Vanessa means butterfly, and that you're going through a metamorphosis. Like right now, you're not seeing who you're going to be." And scripture in the Bible talks about cedars in Lebanon. And I remember her telling me that you're a cedar in Lebanon, and cedars grow tall and they last a long time. And I know you can't see your future right now, Vanessa, but you're going to turn into this monarch butterfly that's going to touch so many people's lives. And so when parents call me and tell me that they read a book by me to their child and how their child can't put it down, that's me telling a story. That's me giving back to a family. That's me sharing my butterfly wings and flying. And so that's really important to me. It's very, very important to me that I don't just tell stories, but that I touch people's lives. That's why that's so important to me. This book is basically my story. It's my story. So
Everybody just drink that in. You are such a gift. You are such I knew I was going to love this live with you. I knew it. But this is unbelievably transformative. This is beautiful. You are amazing. You are a gift.
thank you.
And anyone who is a gift like you, I don't know anyone who hasn't gone through major crap
Yeah.
with like that terrible teacher, you know. You went through that. You were able to be strong and stay strong and continue to be strong. It could have killed other people.
Oh yeah.
All of
Oh yeah.
it could have
Absolutely.
taken others down, and it does. It does.
Absolutely.
Hmm. But look
Mm-hmm.
what you did. Oh, are you all, viewers? Are you just loving her so much? Are you just wait till you look at the comments later? You're going to just, I hope you just spend like an hour or so just watching.
I
Oh
don't think you
my
would
God,
do that.
read
Yes.
those comments. Okay, here we have the Like Vanessa book that I held up. This is
Yes.
so fantastic. I'm going to move along because I want time for questions from people. I
Sure.
love this one. This is, it says thumbnail dash two copy.
Oh, yes.
This is Children's Book Week. Can you draw the lion? I
Yes.
love this.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Random House asked me to do this for Children's Book Week, where you can actually go to the website on there, which is I forget, allchildrenread or something.com. You can check it out. It's already on my Instagram page. But it was give them activities that they can do. And so I didn't want to do the connect the dots because a lot of people were doing that. And I said, you know what? I would like to teach them how to draw a lion very simply. And me drawing as a child, because letters didn't take on letter form for me for reading, they took on a shape for me. And that's how I taught myself how to draw. So a O for a head, a backward C for an ear and an inner ear, a triangle for a nose, an upside down triangle for a nose, a J going one way for a mouth,
Mm.
and a J going the other way. Wow, I can make an animal out of this. Oh, a U for eyes meant the lion was asleep. That meant everything to me. And so that's how I really taught myself how to read, was that if I can see letters as a picture, then maybe I can understand, okay, that's a J, that's a U, that's a V.
Can
That's how.
you, could you make a how to read book based on how you learn to read?
That is interesting. That is very
Yeah,
interesting
that
because
is very interesting.
yeah,
I,
Lori and I are talking about doing a book on not diversity, on dyslexia
yeah.
and what it is to be dyslexic. Because what happens is my letters and my numbers just kind of move on the page like this, and I'm trying to just, can you just stand still so I can read you? That is that's literally what it's like. And so when I explain that to children, they think it's the most hilarious thing. But when I see babies in the audience lift their hands and said, Miss Vanessa, I'm dyslexic, it's everything. And to stand before parents who are so fearful that their child may not be able to get through school or get through life, I'm a witness that your child will get through life. They will be
You're an
fine.
inspiration. Yet another way that our Vanessa is an inspiration. Unbelievable. I'm just, oh my god, I have to readjust myself in my chair. I'm getting so excited. That's amazing. Oh, what a gift that will be.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
and here's the thing, people, please listen. Vanessa, as I said, could have gone down for the count on so many things, but she is now using all of this to better the world. And
indeed.
what can you do to better the world in your own way? You
And
may
your
not have
own,
a story as
yes, ma'am.
dramatic as
Thank you.
Vanessa's, but
Thank you.
everyone has suffered in ways. Everyone has seen things in ways. How can you uplift and share? That's, I mean, there's nothing more meaningful. I
There you go.
love that, but I want to learn how to read and write like how you did with the shapes and letters. I am serious. That's radical. That's innovative. That's very, very cool. Lori, are you listening? Oh my God. Okay, we just have a few more and then we'll have questions. This is thumbnail dash two. This is the beautiful watercolor and looks like you used pen and ink
Yes, I
there.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's beautiful and you just keep growing and changing.
Oh yeah, I love doing this actually. Um, uh, there are so many platforms on the internet now where you can go and take a class and do different things, and I think that's what keeps me on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think as illustrators, we cannot get locked into this is the way I do it, and that's the only way. I'm not gonna. That will get you real fired real quick. You got to stay in the school of learning.
Yeah.
Stay in the school of learning. Find different things to learn. If you don't collage, find collage. If you don't play with pen and ink, find pen and ink, pencils, whatever is there to play with. Just play with it. Nobody said you had to commit to it,
Right.
but it's a way. It's a gate to creativity. It's a gate to another level. So
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you're still in biz and gonna keep being in business because you delight your clients with a new look.
yes,
So sure, we all get tired of looks.
That's right.
Artists usually get tired of their looks first,
Hmm.
and clients take longer because they're not sitting there making the art every day like we are. But keep your clients interested, keep people interested. That's great. Okay, so Jackie Sarnecki says there's a program called Animal Phonics that does some of this, anchoring letters in animal figures. I have a 15-year-old dyslexic child who has come so far, but I was told when she was 5 by an educational psychologist speech therapist that she would struggle for life, but I held onto the fact that you do not put a period where God sees a comma.
Yes.
Love that you are thinking of doing a book on dyslexia. See there, you already got your people.
Thank you for that. Oh my goodness, that is such a wonderful comment.
Mhm.
That really touched my heart. That really touched my heart very much.
Um, Ruth Scholl says, do you have any advice for white artists about drawing and representing diversity in our work in a respectful manner without appropriating it, claiming to represent someone we don't have any claim to represent? This is about cultural appropriation and all that. What are your thoughts?
The only thing I'm going to say on that one is keep drawing other people. That's how you become authentic. Is that watching people? Steve Bjorkman. I don't know if any of you know who he is. Steve Bjorkman is a famous illustrator. Has been around for many years. Steve Bjorkman was one of the people that I would follow when I first started. I would watch him draw everybody. He drew black, white, Hispanic, and he and his wife moved to Fiji, and they were there for 14 years. And he got to fill his notebooks and sketchbooks with so many different characters because he watched. So I'm going to really encourage you to be authentic is to watch everyone. Don't let anybody get the slip on you. If you see them in the restaurant, when we're free to go back to restaurants or whatever, or you're just going on to Pinterest, look at different faces, make it your business. My Asian friends and Asian family members tell me all the time, don't draw us with eyes that are slanted. Don't do that. Don't, just to slant our eyes and say that that's Asian. Don't do it. Can you think about how our eyes are shaped? Study Asian children looking at things. Go and look and see how they dress, how they do their hair. They don't always have bowl cuts. Some of them like pigtails, some of them like the messy bun. Find different ways to express the person on the page and talk to the character.
I love
That's
that. If you're drawing Asian eyes, and we talked about this in the Illustrating Children's Book class a few years ago, to avoid stereotyping,
yes,
look at the eyes, draw the
got it.
eyes, draw the faces, and all different. There's Asia's huge. There are brown Asians, white
That's right.
Asian,
Right.
colors of Asians, different facial structures, like different Europeans. There are different, dark-haired Europeans, light-haired, small features, larger features, Mediterranean, Northern European, and same with Asia, same with African. There's just, I mean, there's East Africa, uh, Africa closer to the Arab countries where the skin tone is different, the facial features a little more Arab influence. Then
Right.
there's the central and southern and south. There's differences, and the more you draw, the
The
more
best.
tools you
So
have. I love it.
right.
Just
I love
great.
that you even talked about how you mix the features. That's the beauty of it. You can get to play
Yeah.
and mix features and make different skin. I was a makeup artist for 25 years as well. While I was a phlebotomist, I was a makeup artist for 25 years. And so the one thing I learned very, very early on that a lot of makeup artists in the industry unfortunately didn't know was that none of us are the same color. None of us. We can find makeup that can go with, okay, Vanessa's skin color, go with Lilla's skin color, go with somebody else's skin color. But we're all not the same. So if I just want to mix your exact color, I would have to use a little bit of this, that, and whatever to do it. Think of the same things when you're doing skin colors for your characters.
Mm-hmm.
How you want to play with it. Play with it. It's your notebook. Nobody has to look into it. Play with it and see what happens. You'll shock yourself. I guarantee you.
I wonder how many people are drawing you right now that are watching. I want to draw her right now. She's so great.
I'm
Okay.
flattered. Oh, that's
Okay,
awesome.
we have Zoo named. What the heck? I love this. You must tell us about this.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Oh, this is the wooden dolls. It's
Yes.
called Zun Name Dash 2.
These are Gullah Geechee nesting dolls. And so Gullah Geechee people come from low country South Carolina, mostly Beaufort and Charleston is where you see a lot of us. A lot of my family born on the island of Beaufort, Three Sisters Ferry. We have these interesting names. Three Sisters Ferry is where my mom was born. And it is way, 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 way back up in the woods. But now, because a lot of rich companies have gone to Beaufort, they have really kind of disturbed the culture. They're buying up the land and they're moving what's called heirs land. They're moving the people like myself off of the land because of taxes, because they want to put big houses there or condominiums or whatever million dollar houses. And so the culture is being disturbed as well.
Is there
And so
anything anyone can do? Is
absolutely,
what can they do? Could you give us the name of a website or something to support it?
you definitely want to go to Gullah Geechee Nation. You can check them out on Facebook. Gullah Geechee Nation. We just gave another group of illustrators just gave $1,500 to buy back heirs land, just to kind of keep the culture going of grass baskets, of shrimp and grits. That's where shrimp and grits comes from. That's where it comes from. But to keep the culture alive, and so I did these nesting dolls to celebrate the culture, that each style goes into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Is basically what we pass down generation to generation. And so I did not expect the orders that I got to go through the roof, but these are 75 dolls now that I'm doing, and they take a long time to do.
And how can people get these?
They can order them through me. I'm the only person paying them though, so I'm telling you, it's going to take a long time
Mm.
because they have to dry and cure. But they come signed and numbered.
Wow.
They are made with such of my Gullah Geechee ha unafadu, and things like that. There, that's how we speak. And I just love doing them because they're unique. They're not seen. Nobody really sees these. Nobody has ever seen these kind of dolls. So
That's
I'm enjoying doing
that's amazing. So it's Gullah Geechee.
Gullah
Gullah
Geechee.
Geechee.
G
Wow.
L L A H Geechee Geechee. Gullah Geechee.
Everybody,
Yeah.
does somebody want to type that into the comments so that people can see what that is? Erica Jones says, I'm patiently waiting for mine. I got time.
Like I said, it takes a long time.
Oh,
They stick
yeah.
to each other, and we're living out here in the humidity. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not like Boston. It's real hot here.
Yeah. It was 100 yesterday. But
Woo! Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
it's hot here.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one is your dolls on the wall.
Yes.
Tell
Yes.
me, did are these ones you've bought and collected or you make these?
These are ones that I've collected and I've bought. I am a doll collector. I love, love, love dolls.
Mm.
But there's one doll maker in particular, and you probably heard of her. Her name is Cosby Cabrera, and she has done. She used to have a store in Brooklyn, in New York, and I would invade her store. Literally, I would invade her store and just stay all day because I love these dolls. And she made one for me, but I also bought one from Land of Nod. And I love these dolls, but there are a few dolls that I've made, like the elephant doll. I made the dolls with the smaller heads. I've made them as well.
Oh,
Lynn Gaines made the sloth for me and the frog. Those are two of my favorite. Suzanne Mitchell did the little bunny there, and the other doll was also the one on the top there was another doll that I bought from Land of Nod. just beautiful. And they don't really have a lot of African American dolls,
Mhm.
but when I saw them, I had to have them. I had to have them. So yeah,
So Wesley Nicole writes, I'm not Gula Geechee, but I'm from South Carolina. I'm from the upstate, and this makes me so happy to see. Oh, that was that
that
was, got
thank
some.
us for that. Yes,
You have some Gula Geechee fans here.
yes, I do.
That is so great. That is so fantastic. We have a little time for questions. I know, I'm sure you all must have so many questions for our really wonderful special guest, a national treasure. I feel Vanessa is a national treasure, and I'm so glad she's here with us. I hope she writes her autobiography one day,
Yes.
memoirs. I
Mhm.
do. It would be amazing. What a life.
The third time I've heard that.
Mm,
You're the
got
third person.
charm.
It three is a charm. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
Yep,
that would be so great. You could even like get maybe you can just talk it into just have a writer and you talk it and they write it up for you
absolutely.
because
I'm thinking about
time,
doing it very much.
so you don't have to write. You can just talk and tell your stories.
Thank you.
Like get a ghost.
Yes,
Pretty
I
cool.
love that. Yeah.
Yep. Do you have questions? So what questions? Anna Bianchi says yes. Memoir, please. Uh, Erica Jones says Lynn Gaines makes dolls. Lynn,
Yes, she does.
does she? That's so great. Leah Quinn, favorite art mediums you like to use, Vanessa?
Oh, I love Posca pens. They are my favorite. I'm embarrassed to tell you how many Posca pens I have.
What do you have it? Are they right there? I don't want you to get.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So these things here, Posca pens,
Oh my God! Wow.
and they come in different nibs, but they are acrylic paint in marker form. And I buy them literally. It's a shame how many I buy, but I go through them so quickly. I love them. Actually, the book that I'm working on now, Becoming Vanessa, I did in Posca pens.
Oh wow! And it's like a paint pen.
It's like a paint pen.
Wow.
Here's a bigger one. That's a bigger one, and they come even larger than that. I have another one. Hold on, even bigger than that. Here's a real big one.
Wow.
So they come in
You.
different.
That's so good. I love
I love them.
that.
You would love these, Lilla. You
I
would definitely love these.
okay. I'm writing that down.
Yep. POSC Posca pens.
POSCA.
Yes, and you can
Okay.
get them from Amazon. Yep.
I'm very upset that you turned me on to this, Vanessa. I don't need more art supplies in this.
I was gonna say you will. You'll be like,
I will
oh my
be so
God,
pissed
Vanessa,
off.
I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. The last thing I need is I
I know,
always joke, I just want one of everything. That's
right?
all. I just want one of everything.
This you can't. Yeah, once you get one, you're gonna want five, and
Yeah.
then it's just yeah.
So people are saying they love Posca pens.
Mhm.
Please do your memoir. Um let's see. I have a Posca pen problem, says Christy DeCastro. Elizabeth McLean says, "Can you tell us how you approach an assignment?" That would be interesting.
Oh, that is interesting because it's different every time. I was just explaining to some artists just the other day that every time, unfortunately, I sit down to do a book, it's like the first time,
Oh,
every
what,
single time,
in what way?
and the angst, the can I do it? Can I? Oh my God, what am I going to do different this time? All of that. And sometimes what I have to do is just kind of step away after the contracts are signed and all that. I have to really just kind of go to my sketchbook and let's just sketch. Let's just put the ideas down first. Sketching is still a problem for me, and it's because I really want to develop this eye for how I see it as like a movie. At times I still, I'm just being honest because, don't just think Vanessa's a superstar. Vanessa struggles. I still
Well, art
struggle.
is hard.
Yes,
Art is
art
hard,
is
even for a
it's,
superstar. You can be a superstar and art is hard. But
it,
I'm
it,
sure it's gotten, even if you do freak out, yeah, but I'm going to get through it like my other 87 books. So I
Yes,
will figure it out. It's
exactly. And
not like with your first few books. I'm
no,
sure that moment is shorter and you
yeah,
know how to cope with it.
exactly,
And
exactly.
you're going to be fine.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I go through it, and I find music is the other paint on my palette. So when I'm working on a book, especially if it's a civil rights book or whatever, I do the music of that time. If it's something whimsical and fun, I will listen to the whole soundtrack of Willy Wonka,
Hmm.
just because the energy that comes from it. And one of my favorites is a young lady named um, Shantae Can, and Shantae does this most uplifting music I think I've heard in a long time, where she makes me think about who I am while I'm drawing, that I don't have to be anybody else. I love Rebecca Green. Rebecca Green is one of my favorite illustrators, but I don't have to be Rebecca Green. And I honor Rebecca, but I love Vanessa. I love what Vanessa did. I don't have to be Lilla Rogers, but I honor Lilla Rogers and I love Lilla Rogers. I don't have to be Christian Robinson, but I love Christian Robinson and I honor Christian Robinson. And listening to the music just makes me kind of focus on what I need to put on the page. And so that's a part of it. Prayer always. That's prayer, music, and talking to myself. That's it.
Now that's a ritual. That
Mhm.
is pretty amazing, inspiring way to start. Jennifer Potter says, and yes, this is amazing advice. Liz Rock says, yes, I match my music to my work as well.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
so great.
Rock on, Liz.
It's so true. Harpreet Honey says, I can relate. This is
Yes.
so good. It's so good. Yeah, music is so good, I think, because it's it's non well, it's sort of linear, but it's creative, it's intuitive, it's emotional, it's the arts, it's the art mind. It gets us in the art mood. To me, it was essential to have music on.
That,
Yeah.
me and you could work in the studio together. I'm like, if with any other artist, if you can't listen to music, we can't work together. Just
Right,
saying. That paint,
exactly.
it's the other
Oh,
paint.
that's great. Do we have any more questions for Vanessa? We have time for another question. Seymour says Vanessa is the best. Stephanie says you make me feel not alone.
Awesome.
I thought you'd like to hear that one.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. They're talking about your online classes,
Yeah.
sketchbook school you teach at.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I've done sketchbook school with uh, uh, Kosha, and it has been the most wonderful, wonderful experience. I do something called the whimsical sketchbook. And yes, y'all, I'm going to tell you right now, it is emotional. It is. I take you on a roller coaster ride. So, we draw those happy moments, but we also have cathartic moments where we really think about what we do. I want to really eradicate this notion that people can't draw.
Yeah.
You can draw, even if it's
Right.
doesn't have to look like mine. It has to
Hmm.
look like what comes out of your hands. That's it. But I enjoyed that. Also,
I'm sorry,
art and
what
charm.
class is that? The roller
This
coaster class?
yes, it's called the whimsical sketchbook.
The whimsical, and is that at sketchbook school?
And that's at Sketchbook
Okay.
School, and you'll find it in Illustration Boot Camp. That's where you'll find it, or Sketchbook Boot Camp. I think that's what it's called.
Okay. Oh, listen to this. Leah Quinn just says, when Matt's Ice illustrating children's book starts, can we have Vanessa stop by for a quick live session? Well, we would love that. I'm not going to put her on. I would love that. I hope we maybe she'll say yes if we're lucky. Oh my god, or maybe she could take part in a review with me.
Oh my goodness, that would be awesome.
That would be so good. I love that, Leah. I was kind of thinking this something like that too. That is so great. Um, Jess Mercia Maya says you
Mhm.
mentioned that you worked as a makeup artist for 25 years. How did
Yeah.
you know it was time to be an illustrator? Knowing this is inspiring.
Um, it was so funny because basically in the 80s when I got out of school, there were no opportunities for illustrators, period, especially illustrators of color. And I loved to draw, but there was no, like I said, no open doors. So I remember them telling me, said, you know, you draw people so well. You have this thing for people's faces. Did you ever think about becoming a makeup artist? And I was like, well, you got to go to cosmetology school. Well, not at FIT. Like we're just looking for people who will do people's makeup for free at the moment, you know, just to get the experience. And that's what I did. And it caused me to understand color and to see things that other people didn't see, you know, which was fantastic, which helped me a great deal, and it helped me in illustrating.
Yeah, I really feel like putting on makeup has taught me so much about the anatomy of a face. It's a good thing. Oh, that's so great. So, how did you know it was time to be an illustrator?
Um, uh,
Well, when
I
your
did,
friend came
and
through the door and saw your paintings, and
that's
was
when
like,
it did.
"What? You're an illustrator," and she hired you
That's it.
from
I mean,
Scholastic. Yeah.
I was studying my daughter's books. Zoe is a miracle baby, and I never thought I would have children. And I have Zoe, and the first book that I pick up is The Snowy Day, because I remembered it from school. There was the book that Mrs. Russell read to me. And so I remember getting that book, and I looked at the pages and I thought, gee, the feelings that I had at 5 years old are washing back over me. And this joy of seeing a brown character just really kind of made my heart leap out of my chest and say, how this man is making me feel is how I want to make other people feel. I want to make other people feel the same way. Like I said, that I see you. I see you, you know, that you're not a second thought. I see you. That was what was really important. So, yeah, it helped me a great deal.
Going in the memoir, by the way.
Yep, yep, it is.
That's sort of your core. That's sort of your
Yep,
whole core missions. That's your mission statement right there.
it is.
Yeah.
It really.
Yeah. Yep. That's good. All of you can think about your own mission statement too. You can
Is.
type
Right.
in what your mission statement is. Um, Yvette says, Lilla Rogers, it would be so nice to have Vanessa in your mystery box course. That is a great idea. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'll take as much Vanessa as she's willing to give. So
Oh,
this is so totally energizing me. Okay. Any last question? And then we're gonna go. Jess Mercia Maya says, "Wow, just wow! I love how your background as a makeup artist help you gain insight on the subtle differences in skin tones slash faces. Thank you for answering my question."
you're so welcome.
That's so great. Popping that up on the screen so everyone can see. So be sure you catch Vanessa's courses, go buy her books, just Google her name on Amazon. You'll get the 40 that popped up for me
Yeah.
just on the first several pages. And do all the things she said. Draw all kinds of people.
All
It
my
will add richness to your life, and it's the right thing to do, too. Um, oh, Maddie Phelan Miller says Vanessa gave me my first portfolio review in Colorado, and I was so grateful for encouragement and positivity.
oh,
Oh, Celeste Lauter Nierenstein says, "Have you traveled to Africa? We have a wealth of stories waiting for you." And yes,
oh.
he lives there.
No, I haven't, and I've been wanting to get to Africa, and then that doggone COVID-19 showed up.
Oh no, it's
Oh,
crazy. Um, Oh, Wen Silvestri says a character class by Vanessa for make art that sells. Hmm, that would be amazing. Stephanie Morgan Rogers says, I'll do anything she says. No relation, but yeah, I'll do anything she says too.
oh,
Um, Anna Bianchi says, draw all kinds of people will be my mantra for illustrating children's books.
that's it.
Oh, this is great. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we're going to sign off. This has been phenomenal. Wait a minute, has this been 2 hours? That's
I love
amazing.
it. The time flies so fast. It really does.
Oh, I've loved talking to you so much, Vanessa. I knew it
And
would be
I
great, but
enjoy talking.
this is exactly what I hoped for and more and more and more. And I'm so happy to be with you. And I know our the viewers are just so moved and entertained and touched and educated and comforted, and yeah, priceless interview. Yep, the comments are coming in. You're amazing, Vanessa. I adore you. Thank you. This was wonderful, inspirational, beautiful. Thank you. Um, yeah, so blown away. Thank you, Vanessa. What a gift. So wonderful. So over 1,000 comments.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh,
Well, thank you again for taking so much time out of your day to be with us. I really appreciate it. What a
my joy.
service. It's been so good. And we're going to have to talk about doing something together.
All right, darling.
I would love that. Stay
Thank,
well.
thank you. Will do.
Thank you.
Too. Bye bye now.
Thank you, everyone.